everyone. Welcome to our podcast. And we are talking about
Drum roll. Dun, 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 dun. Why does your family keep still able to keep pushing your buttons? Why?
never. I just want everyone to know that never happens to me.
No, my family is
But
just amazing.
so
Love
I was
you,
wondering,
family.
are we talking about our old family or our new family? Like our kids' family, us and our kids and our spouses, or our family? Like, this is an interesting thing. So
Yeah.
when I first met my husband, he was a man, grown human, right? And he just seemed like, a confident, grown human man. And that's why we fell in love and got married and all that good stuff. And then we went to visit his family.
And then
He's the youngest of three. And in 2 seconds, he turned into the youngest kid.
Yep.
It was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But his oldest brother and I were like Jedi mind because I could see the stuff I have a younger brother. So I could see the stuff he was doing to bug his younger brother. And I looked at him like, I see what you're doing. It was very funny. It was very funny.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can resonate with like what's about to happen. You go back home for the holidays and all of a sudden all the triggers start happening, right?
Did
It's
you?
like something about getting into that home or with those people, and then you like slip back into these roles that you don't live in normally, but you do when
I
you
have
go
a
back
question
home.
for moms, but I'm going to save it for later. But I wanted to ask you, did you see that movie Four Christmases?
Yes.
So funny.
So good.
It's the perfect example of what we're talking about today.
Uh-huh. Or avoidance, that could be a perfect example for avoidance too, but too bad you don't get to avoid because
Nope.
the news caught you trying to leave to go on vacation instead of seeing your family.
And now you got to see them all four. And that's the other thing that I think that like we kind of got in over our heads when we like started having all these divorces was now you went from like two parents to having four parents or six or eight and then the
Mhm.
grandparents, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, how do you go from, although I think for certain families, or at least when you come into the family later, you can see that like, oh, those people didn't really fit and they fit better with their new person. Do you
Mhm.
know what I'm talking about? The
Sure.
parents. Yeah.
Mhm. So what happens, like, what do you think it is when you go back home or you have some kind of family thing, right? You've gotta have, like, the family group text or whatever. How is it that they can still push your buttons?
What do I think?
Yeah.
I think it has to do with the fact that we don't resolve those things, and sometimes they can't be resolved, but sometimes they can. So it's kind of like the family system stays frozen in its little state, and then we leave, work on
Mhm.
ourselves, find friends,
Or don't.
or don't. And then we come back and they don't realize that we've changed.
Mhm.
Like I have a few clients where I've met the adult children as adults and I see their capabilities. But
Mhm.
then I meet with mom and I'm thinking mom's talking about this person like they're seven.
Yeah. Mhm.
And you don't want to break mom's heart, but they're like a 33-year-old man.
But what happens is when that 33-year-old man goes back home, right? Mom just keeps treating him
Like he's seven.
like he's 7, and he goes back into that role too.
So you have grown adult children. How did you shift?
I do. Have I shifted? No, I'm just kidding. Um,
I
well,
think
it's
you have.
funny because my oldest will even attest, like, when she comes home, she goes back into I see her go back into that where she, like, wants me to cook for her and, like, she leaves her dishes out, and I'm like, "Girl, you're 26 years old. Get your dishes and put them in the damn dishwasher." Right? But it's like they just, like, kinda revert back, you know? Um, so
Is it comforting? I think it's comforting.
it's comforting and annoying. I mean, there's times when I'm
It's
like,
comforting for
I
her and
love
annoying for you.
I love I do love having my kids when they're adults and they come back because I do wanna love on them and, like, do the thing, right? but I also want you to pick up your dishes and I want you to help me cook and not just so there's a, it's a little give and take, right?
Yeah.
But I kept thinking about when I think about this topic, I think about because I work with a lot of like mid 20-year-olds, right? And so they go home for the holidays and they're just like, like they just talk about the struggle of going back home and how all of a sudden like their parents have all these like, you can't stay out that late, or like, why are you up on, like things that they're like, I live in an apartment by myself. Like I pay my own bills. Like why all of a sudden do you have like want to like track me? And, they get very triggered by being back home. They feel controlled. They feel like, and so what's interesting to me is like, I do think there are a lot of
I
those
think
unresolved things.
I think we don't talk about the rules enough. I think we don't talk about the rules. I think like
What are the
there's
rules?
so many rules that nobody talks about, like unspoken norms. So like at
Oh,
home, you know, okay, so at my grandma's house, my grandma was Mexican. She still is Mexican. She's just not with us anymore. But that side of the family was Mexican. So if you came to that house with a backpack and needed a place to stay, you could stay there. And then if eventually you just didn't need to stay anymore and you wanted to leave, you had become part of that system. It would be like, where did Lisa go? Why isn't she here? She's supposed to be here. There's so many like unspoken rules in that home.
mm,
We all eat at 1 o'clock. Everybody sits around the table and talks. Everybody participates in the meal. If somebody needs help, the help happens, whether anyone has time for it or not. I mean,
mm,
it's like so unconditional, and but once you're in, and you kind of can't get out, you know?
yeah.
Sounds like a cult, but I'm not saying that. I'm not
So
saying it's
are
a
you
cult.
saying there's unwritten rules as well that when kids go home, they're
Yeah.
supposed to like, you're under our authority and I'm still the parent and you still have to be home in a certain time? And do you think there's rules? There's
I
like,
I do. I think that there's rules and we don't talk about it, and we don't say like, okay, that worked when I was a kid, but it's not going to be that way anymore. And I don't know, certain structures, certain family structures, I don't think can ever change. When I think about other cultures,
oh, for sure. Yeah.
like a lot of different like Vietnamese culture, like different cultures, everybody's together, everyone like earns together, they buy properties together. Like there's no way to get out of that system.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't want to or don't need to. I saw this really fun guy on TikTok, and he was talking about how he was kind of complaining about how in the US we like force ourselves into independence, but in
Mm.
Italy everybody stays together. And he's like, you guys do it wrong in the US. Like in Italy, everyone stays together, grandparents, great grandparents, and littles, and it's just a big group.
Well, it's more
Um,
of that collectivist culture, right? Like we're very individualistic here. So it is like, I mean, I talked about when my son was living with me and I'm like, oh, he's 22 and like, probably he needs to be getting out now, and my friends from other cultures would be like, Lisa, he's only 22. Like, and I'm like, yeah, like,
exactly.
I feel like he needs to go, like, and they're like, no, he should be able to stay. But it's just
I
the
know.
viewpoint, right? The viewpoint of it all. So, I mean, I work in a very diverse medical school. And so at all, majority of my clients, 98% of my clients are not white. And
Oh wow.
they've taught me so much about, just how different their home life is, the requirements. And it is like you're saying, there are these rules,
There
there
are
are things.
rules. Mhm.
And they struggle because, they've been raised in this individualistic culture. And so they have tension in them. They have their culture and then they have the American culture pulling at them.
But then they go to school, right? They're in medical school, and they have all those rules and all those norms, which is probably, I'm making this up because I don't really know the truth, but I'm thinking like study and sleep and eat, and that's it. I don't think that they have social time. They don't have.
But their parents, well, I need you to come and fill out this paperwork and I need you to translate. I need you to handle these
Yes.
situations. I need you to come home and help me with your brother. And those from other cultures are doing that. And it's very stressful on them. They feel this responsibility towards their family because that is how they're raised.
I was raised that way where I was in college. I was in Massachusetts when I first went to school. And my dad called me and said, "Your brother's being unreasonable. You need to deal with him." He's calling me from Los Angeles, so 3,000 miles. I happened to answer the phone because there was no like, cell phones. And he said, "Your brother's being unreasonable. Deal with it."
Mhm.
And I knew that I had to help raise my brother, even though I was 3,000 miles away, totally powerless, couldn't do anything, but still, that was the expectation.
So do you
And
think do you, I'm sorry, keep going.
no, go ahead.
Do you think that pushing some of the button pushing is connected to those things?
Absolutely. I think that the buttons are there, whether they get pushed or not. And I think depending on the work that we've done, we can kind of like maybe move the button to a different location, but I think it's still there.
Has
What do you think?
access. Well, I've been this is a great book. I'm gonna show it if nobody's read it. But it's about healing your inner child. It's really good work because I think that a lot of those things that we get triggered are from our younger years, like right, that they touch things in us that are like, you're not going to tell me what to do. You always do this, like whatever family member like that did the thing, and then you go back and they do the thing, and it's like, ugh, like it just the way it rises in us, right? Usually,
Yeah.
it's a saying if it's hysterical, it's historical, and so it's like triggering those childhood wounds. So anyways, that this particular book that I reference it's a really good book, Robert Jackman. But it talks about just our responses and boundaries and like how to help the inner child, like how to help you respond, right? So like that parent that does that thing, that guilt trip, that passive aggressive, and you lose your bleepity bleep. Well, it's like, what's going on in you? I think that's the question I like when I see myself like overreact, and I'm like, okay, what's going on, Lisa? What's happening right now? So,
Yeah.
oh, they sure got you quick. Like, what is
Yeah.
that? Because that's my stuff. That's not that might be they are triggering me, but I'm an adult now and I have to deal with it. I can't keep blaming, oh, that's my mom always does that to me. It's like, yeah, that's
Right.
that's her.
Right.
I accept that, but what about my response as adult? I am not a victim anymore. I am an adult and I have to deal with my response, right?
So in Al-Anon, they say hungry, angry, lonely, tired, halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. So when I'm hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, I'm going to respond. I'm going to fall for it. I'm not going to be able to stay centered. But
Mhm.
I think the more work that we do on ourselves and when we like take care of our basic needs, and then we can not respond.
Or have the awareness, I'm really hungry right now. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm
Right.
I have not slept and
Right.
I'm hungry, right? Like this is not going to be good right now. I need to just not respond in that text right now. I need to
And
not
I
go to
have
that
little
room.
rules. I try not to respond the same day. Like I think, okay.
Is this why you don't text me back right away?
I'm the worst with texting.
taking a breath before she responds.
No, and sometimes I have to figure something out, and then if I didn't respond right away, then I forget, and then I go, "Oh shoot!" Yeah, that's what happened earlier with us. Um, uh, yeah.
Your
What
rules.
about what about
Wait, what are your rules?
what about? Oh, I don't respond. I mean, if it's like a
Think about
triggering
it.
thing and I feel it, I wait until the next
Yes,
day,
that's
and I
wisdom, I think. Yeah.
And I think if it's a really big deal, I'm gonna feel like my gut in the morning is gonna feel like, okay, now you can process this.
And,
And
and can
sometimes I realize, oh, it was not a big deal. I didn't see it that way. I was gonna text back something that came from the office, and then I didn't. I waited, and I'm so glad that I waited because I got more information.
Mhm.
And then obviously it didn't. I hadn't seen it the way it was being presented. But then I wanted credit. So then the next day when I did respond and I was at the office, I'm like, I just want credit that I didn't like respond in a bad way because I almost did. I
So
got credit.
what happens when you do, you know, they push your buttons. They push your buttons, your family push your but listen, we're going into holidays here. your buttons are going to get pushed. First of all, that just needs to be awareness point. You're going to see your family. Somebody is going to push your buttons. Let's just let's just bring that into our awareness. Like it's going to happen.
It's
Someone's going
going
to
to
say
happen.
something they do. They're going to remark that you're late.
Politics.
Politics are going to, something's going to come up.
Yeah.
Something. So already coming in knowing that, and then like, what is your plan? If your family always triggers you, if there's always something that goes down, prepare that for that. Like, okay, if she even starts, right, whoever she is, I'm going in the bathroom. I'm going to take some, I'm going to shift myself because
Yeah.
I'm not doing it this year. I'm not.
I also, one thing that helps me a lot is I go into it with the mindset of I'm going to observe what's happening from like an observation point. Like if I was
Mhm.
like a reporter, rather than like being in it, being in my body, in my spot where I'm always supposed to help and I'm always whatever my position is, I'm going to look at it from the outside, like all those funny Christmas movies with families where weird things happen, where you're just watching it and you see it, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I think that's helpful for me.
Because then you get
Um,
some distance. You feel like you get distance from it so that the emotional response isn't the same.
and the other thing I do a lot is I ask God to have me see people the way He sees them, and I call God a He. So I hope that doesn't offend anyone. And I believe in God, and I hope that doesn't offend anyone. But yeah, I call God. I literally go, okay, God, and then you see like it's almost like you're looking at Christmas and people are unwrapping gifts, and you're like, oh, he really wanted that, or he really didn't want that, or he was disappointed. Like starting to look at things from like an observer rather than being in it and
but
getting
but
triggered.
if you're doing that, you're regulated. Let's say that.
That's a
Okay.
good
Because if
point.
I'm not regulated, I am not seeing you as God's child. I am seeing you as the
I
enemy of
know.
my soul. Okay. So it's
So
hard
bad.
because if you've already flipped your lid, right, the brain is not having the access to be able to think logically. So you have to calm the brain down. You have to calm your body down. So if I think just throwing this in here about like if it's already happened, like if it's happening to you and you can't quite get ahead of it, it's happening, right? You're having the response, you're like about to lose it. I mean, you have to be able to zip your mouth or walk away or something to get a moment to be able to regulate yourself,
I got to
right?
go to the bathroom. That's
Yeah.
my favorite one. That is my favorite
Yeah.
one. I'll say, oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be
Or
right back. And I will walk away and I'll go to the bathroom and like
yeah.
get
Or
myself
just
together.
like you just give them the look and you're like, "Mhm." And just like, I'm gonna get a drink. I'm gonna I'll I'll be back. You know. I mean, I know that takes a lot of self-control. Or you lose it, you say something snippy, and then you feel like, I just did that thing I don't want to do. Then
Yeah.
you gotta go walk away. I have definitely lost. I will give you a story, unfortunately. Sorry, family. Here we go. Bought my house, was having my first Christmas at my house. Okay. And um I'm stressed, right? Like I don't really have a big house. I'm trying to get all my family in here. Everybody's just on top of me, and you know what I mean? We're in the kitchen. I'm trying to get all done. Um, the person I was dating at the time went to go get some more drinks because apparently something was going on with the drinks I had, didn't communicate with me. Now we're all ready to eat and he's not there. And I'm just like, and my brother-in-law is starting to get like just making little comments. And I am like, I can feel it. I can just feel it coming in, coming up. I'm and I'm trying. I'm just getting more
You can feel the feelings. You could feel it filling you up
the
like
anger, yes,
anger.
of like,
Hmm.
why did you leave and not communicate with me? I've worked so hard to get this all done at the same time. Now I have another, it's sorry to say, but man telling me what to do and how to do it. And I am just like, really? And I just was getting so frustrated. So then we go to sit down. Okay. He comes in, I give him the death look, we get the food to sit down and then they want me to pray.
Mm.
And I am mad. I'm upset. This is not the way I wanted to go. Food is cold because we waited like 40 minutes for him to get back because somehow it took that long. And I'm
That's a long
mad.
time.
I'm mad. And then they want me to pray. Do you think I want to pray? I did not want to pray right then. I was like, I totally put a little, I'm sure I said something spicy during my prayer, like, God help me, But I was so upset with myself afterwards that I let him get me. Let him get
Yeah.
me. And they saw it. They saw me get frustrated. They read it all over me, and I was upset that I didn't do what I know to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a
Yeah.
therapist. Go in the backyard where it's 40 degrees and take a second. Take a breath. Let it go. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
But it's like it builds and builds and builds. And I had all these expectations for my first Christmas in my house, and I did it to myself, right? So it's like now
Did you though? You
well,
know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
the
You fell
expectations I
for
did
it,
to myself.
but you didn't
Yeah.
do it to yourself. And that's the thing. I think it takes a team, right? It's
A
a
triggering team.
yeah, a triggering team. It takes a team. Like, and I almost feel like we get put in that position. It's not a test. I'm not saying it's a test, but it feels like
Feels
maybe next year I'm not going to fall for it, or maybe they're going to have to get better at it. So my husband has two brothers, and they know how to banter, and they love to banter. And so it was really funny because when I first met the family, I went into the bedroom, it was Thanksgiving, and I started crying because I was like, oh my gosh, it was so different from my family. My family is like unconditional. You could just get out of jail. You could have a really big illness. You could be the president of the United States. It doesn't matter. It's all love. No one's going to it's just, no one's better than anyone else. And it's like, so, it feels surfacey, but it's not, because it does go deep. But nobody calls anyone out on like that kind of stuff, like
especially a
bantery or
holiday.
no.
Right. Not on a holiday.
So, but at my husband's family, it's just part of the natural course of things for like to make little jabs and to joke and like to throw each other under the bus. And it's funny, and they have a great time. I mean, truth be told, they have a great time at it. But if
so they
you're
don't take it personal.
No, if you're new to the table, it depends on if you're new to the table, you're gonna fall apart.
You're like, all my arms and legs have been cut off during this meal.
So somebody came that was new to the table this past holiday, and she goes, "This is a rough crowd." It's like, yeah.
So did that validate you? You're like, yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Her discomfort made me feel better about my historical discomfort. Is that bad? It's like so grateful for the perspective.
Well, yeah, because what's normal to one is not normal to others, right? That's why sometimes if, heaven forbid, I bring a new person I'm seeing into the family, I'm like, oh God, I'm preparing them. Oh God, okay, they're going to say this.
And that's the other thing. You have the newbies, My grandma was like 100, and she used to always want to get back home. And she would always, during holidays, she would always go to like the newest brother-in-law or boyfriend to get her home. And she'd be like, I need a ride home, and no one wants to take me, because they'd always want her to spend the night.
I love that so much.
So funny.
And she probably just wanted to talk to a man, and
year after year, she would just work the room. So funny.
And you can get away with stuff when you're older like that.
You really can.
Yeah, because you're just sweet and old. And yeah.
So is it all bad or all good? It's not all bad. I think in some ways, what I like about dysfunctional families or buttons getting pushed is what you can count on in some ways, right?
That's my message of like, what's coming. Like, be prepared. Why are we shocked when Uncle so-and-so gets trashed at Thanksgiving or Christmas?
He always does.
And is talking blah, 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 blah. And, makes fun of whoever. I mean, it happens every year. Like, why are we surprised?
But is it a rite of passage for like people to like try to win the argument? I wonder.
Like, I'm going to get him this year. I have all my notes written on my hand. They're not getting me this time.
So that's another thing my family does is, at least my brother-in-laws, they like quiz each other on stuff, and they really do try to prove each other right. And even
So very heady.
after the event, emails will get sent out with like backup
Sheets of backup
how they
facts.
were right about A, B, and C post
My God.
holiday. Yeah.
So that sounds like a very highly cognitive family. What about highly emotional families? That everything is dramatic and guilt-ridden and
And everyone cried.
crying and like, how could you don't even love me, you didn't bring your casserole like you always do. Like, what about those families? Because I mean, that's
That's
like
so funny. Or
fire
what
right
about the
from the
families
start.
where the police always gets called at the end? You never know who's going to be the trigger of it, but it
But it's
happens.
coming. It's coming. Police are
It's
coming.
coming. We're
So,
laughing at.
are there any good buttons that family pushes?
Oh, that's a good
Are there
question.
any people that kind of, you know, for
My
you, they
aunt,
give you that backup, they give you that like
yeah, I think there's people you can
fun.
count on, right? Across the table, you're like, okay, I can count on those
They're like,
too. There's like alliances.
yes, for sure. When so and so does something and you just look over to your cousin and they're like, right? Yes, it's true. Very true.
It reminds me, this is an old movie, but the Beetlejuice movie. Do you remember that movie?
I
And
don't.
okay, so there's this waiting room, and I guess in the waiting room, it's like the afterlife. So the waiting room, you're like, it could wait, you could be 10,000. But then there's this little guy with like number 2 or 11 or something. And you could see like all these people with little heads. And you're wondering why they have little heads. Well, then this guy goes to take the 11 from that guy and he sprinkles him with dust and his head shrinks. So now you know why they had little heads, because everyone tried to steal that guy's number.
Oh,
But it reminds me of families where you see people that like hold their ground or submit to something, and it's because they've already gone through the fire with that person and
mm,
they just gave up on it. And then the
yeah.
zone out people that just watch the football game or
Oh, yeah. Escape. Hmm.
why
Typically, it's the men who are
why do we
escaping
go to
the
the
football
holidays?
game.
Why do
And
we
then
go to the
the women
holidays?
are going crazy inside the kitchen trying to get, with their one oven, 15 different things that need to be in the oven, all done and hot at the same time and out. And the men are like, "When is it done? Is it done yet?" And you're like,
So true.
"That's right.
So
I'm bagging
true.
on them." I'm
So
sorry.
why do we go to the holidays? Why do we do the holidays? It's so stressful,
Because it's
but
because
it's
we're
fun.
guilt ridden. Because that's what family does to us. They guilt rid us. How could you not go? They would come and find you.
I know. It sounds
Do
like
you
fun.
want do you want to go? Is there a want or is it just you feel responsible?
I think the traditions are helpful for society in general, but like, yeah, in families. My aunt used to make this really good potato salad and this honey ham. And
Sounds
you
good.
could count on that lady's potato salad and honey ham every year for decades and decades and decades. And so I think there's something comforting about those traditions, or those yeah, those traditions,
Mhm. Well,
even if
even the consistency of the people.
yeah,
They might be annoying, but that's
but
your
they're
family.
yours.
They're
Yeah.
yours. Yeah, and at least you have that uncle that everybody rolls their eyes at.
Yeah.
Or the grandmother that, drinks too much and is in the corner. I mean, we all have these family members, but
And
there's
even if one position, I think even if one position gets like gone, like when my dad used to be the guy that used to drink too much and the police would get called. Um, but when he passed away, my other cousin became the guy that would drink too much and we'd call the police on him. It's like the
interesting.
spot
They're
got
like, "No,
filled.
the police need to come. Somebody needs to step in and get it done." Okay. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Hmm. I kind of feel like that with my dad because, we were always in cahoots, whatever, like the games at the holidays, we play games, and he would like stir it up. And then when
He
he
would.
passed, yeah, and then when he passed, it was just like inevitable that I was stepping in that place. Like that's, you know,
That's really
So
good.
I hear what you're saying. It's like that you fill in because you're just used to them, you know.
Yeah, and then we become bits and pieces of them.
And we become the bush I
The,
can't talk.
the
The
button
button
pushers.
pushers. Oh no, full circle. Oh no, full circle.
So
Interesting.
many movies come to mind. I don't know why, but the 16 Candle movie where the mom was really, really wealthy and like she had
Absolutely.
her nails and she was like smoking a cigarette and cooking breakfast. And then the other really nice grandma comes over with like a spatula to try to catch
Try to
the
get the
cigarette
ashes from the
ash.
cigarette.
Like, funny families are funny. I think we I don't know. I think I do think that we all represent a certain archetype in the family, and when that spot gets filled or is empty, someone else fills it.
So is the big message here that like I hear a lot of perspective shifting, right? Like shifting how you view it. Like, yeah, they push your buttons and this is what
Yeah.
you can do to shift yourself because really you
Inter-
can't control them anyways.
Interestingly, I was watching this thing on Oprah has a podcast. Hi, Oprah. So Oprah has her podcast, but she did this like episode on no contact with families, and it was really interesting how a lot of young people have chosen to have like no contact,
Mhm.
and like how that option has become a thing.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't know that we called it that 10, 20, 30 years ago if it was called no contact, but um yeah, I think to me that seems like a little bit of an overreach on some of the stuff that happens in families. I mean, I know there's,
Right.
real stuff that does happen that you have to have no
It's like
contact on.
it's like an extreme response, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like where there was there communication, where their boundaries set, where there, I'm not saying that that's never to take place, but we're built for relationship. Relationships aren't easy. We can't always just have easy people in our lives. Um, some of obviously that sandpaper, that rubbing, it does something to us, it does it can have a really good effect on us. So I don't think it's all bad,
I do too. I think that you bring up a really, really good point. We are built for relationships, and relationships are not easy. Um,
'cause people aren't easy.
but I think it's worth it. And I mean, that's just the way
Mhm,
we're made. We're made, we
mhm.
need each other.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about earlier with the whole collective approach.
Mhm,
It's really funny how like you see stuff like the mall used to be a thing and now these outdoor malls and then even
mhm.
like Costco, like everyone just kind of gravitates to the little food area. I mean, we need each other.
Yeah.
Whether we live with anyone or not, we end up Starbucks is a big deal just because people go there and do their
Yeah.
business. They could work on their laptop at home, but they're at
Mhm,
Starbucks.
mhm. But we can't
So
always choose. We can't always choose.
yeah, we can't.
And how do you work through it? And a lot of what we're saying is like you have to work on your own stuff. You have to be able to recognize your own responses and reactions. You can't make people stop pushing your buttons. I mean, you could if you just cut the button off, but like it's hard. We have to deal with our
You
buttons.
do. You do.
But
And I think if you don't work through those archetypes in your family, then you'll be employed by one of them or you'll work with one of them and
yeah,
you won't
can't
be
go away.
capable of dealing with that
Mhm.
personality.
No, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That's
Or relationships. You get into a relationship with someone and then they remind you of your cousin or your uncle or whatever. And then you realize, well, I really should have just worked on that back then. So I would have been able to deal with it.
oh,
You know,
any person that's listening to this has been in a romantic relationship or married. Hello, think about who that person reminds you of. Like,
yeah.
there's going to be things that, and yeah, working through those things, figuring out how do I regulate myself, control my own responses, how do I set boundaries, which we're going to talk about, you know, all those things are the pieces.
Yeah.
So,
So that
okay.
sounds like a really good a really good point. Thanks so much. Thanks for
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.